Hello, I'm Marcia. I'm a creative artist and I specialise in oil painting, and I also tutor in art. And in this video I'm going to show you how to mix oil paint. So to mix oil paint we're going to use some linseed oil, palette knife, a brush, a palette, which is just an old plate, and I also like to use an old sheet of glass for mixing larger areas. So for this exercise I'm going to focus on these paints and I'll read them out for you. First of all, we've got the Prussian blue, we've got the burnt umber, we've got the gold ochre, or you could use yellow ochre, we've got the cadmium red, which is the hue, we've got the light red, and we've got the cadmium yellow, which is the deep hue, which is a darker yellow. I've also got some ultramarine and a little bit of titanium white, and I've got some raw umber. First of all, I'm going to use some Prussian blue, just a small amount on the glass. And some burnt umber. Probably a little bit hard to imagine that these colours would be in both white and black skin tones, but they are. Gold ochre, or you could use yellow ochre. If you don't have a particular colour in your palette, you should be able to mix most tints and hues with red, cadmium yellow, or cadmium blue. And with the addition of a small amount of white, and as I say, we tend not to use black, but you can use a small amount of black, but you have to be very minimal with it because it does take away from the colour. It's the raw umber. So for the purpose of this exercise I'm going to use flesh tint as an example of how to mix paint, and we can go from very dark with the addition of the blues and the browns, which I haven't done here but I will show you, to very light. All of these ranges you'll see in natural skin tones. This is flesh tint, which you can buy ready-made, and as you can see you've only got one tone there, so it really is worth your while learning how to mix your own flesh tints, which I've done using these colours in varying degrees. So I'm going to show you this one in a minute, but firstly I'm going to show you how to start mixing. It doesn't matter the order that you begin in, but I always like to start from lightest colour to darkest colour, and remember that the darker colours are much more overpowering, so you only add a small amount at a time, and you can add as much white and yellow and then less red and much less dark blues and browns. Okay, but we try not to add black at all. Some white there, and I've already got a drop of blue in there, but never mind, because all skin tones have a drop of blue, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. So I'm going to mix that. So in water-based mediums, it's the addition of water that brings about lighter colours, lighter textures, lighter washes. With oil-based mediums, you can add linseed oil or white spirit to bring about more of a wash and the appearance of light or highlights in your flesh tones, or if you're drawing, say, a lemon skin or something. Okay, so here at the moment we've got a pale greyish blue. Doesn't look very much like a flesh tint. I'm going to add some yellow in there. That was the cadmium yellow deep hue. Change the colour again. I'm using the palette knife to mix in very thoroughly. And remember, if you're going to do really large figures or faces, then you mix more paint. But if it's only a small amount, you mix a small amount. And the more you do it, the more you'll get a hang of getting the right tones. And it's a good idea to have a chart of all the different variations of colour tones, so you have something to refer to. So now I'm going to add some of the red, cadmium red, very small amount, and beginning to resemble someone who's not well. Small, bit more. Got more of a pinky grey flesh tone. Going to use some of this gold ochre, add some of that in there. More of a tanned tone. So because you may not always have the correct colours in your palette, you can mix and match. You could start from just cadmium red, yellow and blue, or you could go with the colour you have in your pack. So I'm going to add some more yellow. If that doesn't lighten up, I can always add some lemon yellow. So I've got more of a tan skin there. And see how the colour's beginning to build up. You can see already on the glass how the shade, the natural skin tone, is beginning to come along. We can go the opposite end, darker here. And that, in essence, is how to mix oil paints.